All right. And welcome back, everyone, to the Just Joshin podcast show. We have episode 5 here, and we have our special guest here, who is the only one, I don't mean to call him out, that has technical difficulties, and couldn't show his face, but we will have a nice, um, glorious picture of him on the screen, though, so you won't be able to even see it anyway. But how are you doing, my good friend Eric?
Yeah, I can't show my face because I'm currently awaiting trial for something I didn't do. I'm joking first.
He's
But
anonymous.
I'm anonymous, yeah. But no, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I don't know why my camera's acting up. Like everything was going good until my camera started acting up. I don't know why. I don't know why.
It's all good because all it matters is that you're here, you took the time, and that you got the sound. All it matters is in a podcast is that we could hear you and we could hear what you got to say. And the first thing I want to ask is how did we meet? That's the first topic of every single podcast we've done so far on this channel. So I want to hear what your thoughts are on that.
So we met at a church. We met at church a few years ago. Yeah, it was a few years ago. We did a there's a thing at the church we did a camp together, and that's how we met. Actually, I remember one time when so I like he was a counselor. I was like the entertainment of the show, of the camp,
He's a very entertaining guy.
and I had him on the stage with somebody else, and they was playing a card game where
I
if like
remember this.
whoever got the higher card, we get water splashed on your face. Like I wasn't a part of it, but let me tell you, they played dirty, and I was glad I wasn't a part of it. I was like, like at least when I play, I go, I throw punches, but when they played, they just got a knife and went straight for the gut. It was like, yo, no
That's
chill.
It's funny because I was not expecting to be called up. We'll title this particular topic the Eric show because Eric, what he didn't mention is at this particular camp we do at our church, he was, like he said, the entertainment, and we had this thing called the Eric show. And so he would be like I would say like a cool Tonight Show type of guest, but at the camp, and we would do fun games. We would have fun times doing like games, dances, skits, whatever it may be. And he was like the prince of entertainment, I'll call him. So even the king of entertainment, Prince. And so it was funny because I at one point was a counselor, and I actually had a crush on this other counselor of mine, and I was not expecting this, but he brought both of us up. And I was like thinking like this is so funny, but like so at the same time like flirty because I was interested in this girl. And so
I
when we
didn't even
had
know
like,
you had a crush. I just was like, you know what?
oh, you didn't know that? No, that
Yeah, I
actually
was
is
like, you
even
know
that
what?
makes it deeper. That makes it deeper.
Let's just go for the kill.
So yeah, so I actually, yeah, I had a crush on that girl, believe it or not. And we actually went on a date, believe it or not. Did not go great, but that's besides the fact.
That's
But
neither
yeah,
here nor
so
there.
I'm sorry, what?
That's neither here nor there. Don't worry about it.
But it was a fun time nonetheless. We had a great time with it, and I don't know if you've had a knack for just being an entertainer, but like I will definitely say, you were the first person I think I've had on here as the fifth guest that I would say has as much energy or has as much of a hosting type of skill that I do. So I maybe you should have your own podcast. I mean, you said you've been on some, but you
So
definitely have the energy for it.
I actually had, yeah, I've been on a couple of podcasts. Me and a good friend of mine, you actually had him on the show earlier.
Yep.
His name is Justin. He's a really good friend of mine. We had a podcast together. Also, there's a sports podcast I'm like a part of. I'm like family there. Like I
Oh,
can
don't
go
worry.
on
We're gonna be
any
talking about sports in a second.
I can go on anytime, any day, and they're like, and they just love me. So it's like I'm known as Big Brother on there. Shout out to Sports Insanity podcast crew. Anything sports related, they know what to do. They know how to talk about it. They're just really good. really dedicated a group of people, and it was a pleasure knowing them. And so, big shouts to them. That's my little plug in. So
Well, that's all it's about, honestly. It's about gaining relationships and bonding with people. You might even know a person for a week or two. Like I know this coworker of mine, and we become fast friends, honestly. And it's just about gaining relationships, even if it's just talking, even if it's just bonding over a sport or at church or wherever it may be. And I think that's like the main goal that we should have in life is just gaining relationships, positive relationships.
exactly, exactly.
So, expanding on the camp, I guess if anybody from the area wants to talk about it or view the podcast, what is your favorite part of camp if you had to say about it?
Favorite part of camp, kickball.
Kickball is the best. Kickball
uh,
is
I
the best.
I mean, so putting me in it. This is why I'm not showing my face here because then people will know. But no, I would say like interacting with the kids, man. That was honestly a blast. Like this camp thing, it was like a week long,
Yeah.
and I remember always on that Friday, it was very bittersweet because
Oh yeah.
I
It
was
felt like
like,
the hard work paid off at the end, like all
hard
that,
work
all
paid
the.
off.
But it was sad too at
I'm
the
gonna
same
miss
time
these.
because
It was sad. I'm gonna miss these kids, but at the same time, I was on like my third leg, so I was already
yeah,
dead. So I was like, I love y'all, but I want to get some sleep. But it
it's
was
a
like
big
so.
sacrifice because
So
you
I
got
would
to
say
give
like
up work
interacting with the
time.
kids and also just like and kickball. I love
Yeah.
kickball.
I think we do a really good job, and I really think the best part of it is seeing like how we could bring these kids closer to God, and I feel like that is the biggest like type of great feeling when you go home when you're like, man, these kids are really turning in the best direction they could turn in life, and it just
Yeah,
puts
yeah.
like a smile on my face at the end of the day, even if I had to be like the jungle gym, or if I had to be like the running around helping them out, or if I had to be like whatever I mean had to help those kids, it just at the end of the day, even if it was taking care of them the whole day, I enjoyed it and I still like to do it every single year because it puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
So will we ever be seeing the Eric show again? Because I know last year you were busy at the moment. So will we ever get to see
So
that Eric show again?
actually, it was crazy enough. I guess I'll say it now. I was actually supposed to do it, but
Really?
but then I got sick.
Oh, that's tough.
I got sick, so like it was like I was scheduled to do it on one of the days, and I think I was going to go to work right after. But my somebody in my household got sick, and I got sick, so I couldn't be able
That's
to do it.
unfortunate.
I was really upset.
Well, we're looking for the 2023 return, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I'm not guaranteeing it. I'm not promising it, but
No
you're just gonna have
spoilers.
to see. You're just gonna have to see.
So another thing I noticed you do with the church is you definitely help with a bunch of the youth group, and that's really admirable because you like really you are with the kids all the time and you help them all the time with anything they need, and you're like a really big influence on them. One of my favorite activities that we do, obviously, is we play basketball on Thursdays, and you are like the king of being the DJ. You like be putting on all the hits. And I wanted to bring up a topic on asking what is Eric's playlist? I'm gonna title this Eric's playlist. Like what are you doing when you're working out? What are you doing when you're driving? What are you doing when you're at basketball? Where maybe you're just sitting at home trying to do work or whatever it may be. Like, what is Eric's playlist?
So so I'm not sure if you notice if we like really listen to when we're playing basketball. I mean, yeah, I mean some songs it's like mainstream, like oh yeah, I know this artist, I know this artist. But if you pay close attention to some of the songs you don't know, I'm gonna challenge you this next time you play. Listen to the lyrics. A lot of songs I put on there are songs by Christian artists.
Oh,
Um,
I know one is I see a lot of the time is NF. I'm a big fan of that man.
yep,
He's kind
NF.
of like I kind of consider him kind of like the Christian, more tame version of Eminem. That's the only way I can kind of describe him as.
I'd say he's like a Christian emo rapper because he's very like emotional, but at the same time, it's like he's spitting facts.
Oh yeah,
Um,
100%.
also listen to is Andy Mineo, KB is probably one of my favorite Christian rappers.
Huh. Never heard of
Lecrae,
him.
look him up. Yeah, a lot of KB, um, Andy Mineo, Lecrae. Those are like the main people. And actually, I a lot of songs I um I learned from the uh the youth group leader before me because he'd play
Oh really?
some of that same music that I played, and
Yeah.
so that's kind of how like I was like, oh, you know, this would be a nice basketball playlist, you know. But when I'm not
We
at
definitely do.
basketball, I'm like, I can listen to pretty much anything. Um, like my top favorite rappers are Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole. You find me listening to them. I've been listening to a rapper named JID. He,
Mm. What is your thoughts
Denzel
on
Curry,
Kanye
but
West
also
situation?
well, also I'm gonna get to that. Also, I listen to a lot of I've been listening to Paramore lately. I love Paramore.
Paramore's good, yeah.
It's the best. They're the best. I saw them in concert actually. It's great.
Oh,
As far
nice.
as Kanye, he's Kanye. What can I say? He's Kanye.
He is an absolute different person. I swear, like he changed. I don't know if what happened, but I feel like he's changed his style since like the early days of Kanye. I feel like now he's
So
kind of getting more into philosophical tendencies versus like music tendencies.
yeah. So I mean, so there was a Kanye that was like everything changed after his mother died in I think 2007, 2008.
Yeah,
Ever
Donda
since
was a
then,
big album.
he's just kind of went downhill. And you know, I kind of pray for him that he finds the help that he truly needs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've always been a fan, but it's just I feel sorry for him for when sometimes he has these comments that are trying to hurt other people, but a lot of the times when people do that type of stuff it's because they're hurting inside themselves and they're trying to take it out on the easiest targets. And I'm like I feel bad for him, and I hope he gets the help he needs.
Yeah, me too.
So I know we're gonna stray off a little topic though, but we did talk about basketball. So, uh, you did say you were a big guy when it comes to sports. So I wanted to put you to the test a little bit. First off, I know you will say that you are a Jets fan, and I've heard you're a Jets fan. So the Jets
That
this
is
year,
true.
as you know, almost made the playoffs. Like I was like I was hoping the Jets would make the playoffs. I know I'm a Giants fan, but for as the Jets, like they're like my second favorite team, and I was hoping they'd make the playoffs. But they always seem to come up short every single year. So I know you're a big critiquer on sports and your team and stuff like that. So if you were the coach of the Jets or the GM of the Jets, I'm going to title this topic Coach Eric. What would you do to fix the Jets? Because I think we need to know this.
Oh man, I like this. All right, so we had a good run this. So honestly, looking back this year, we started off good, but then it just kind of went downhill. You know, Zach Wilson, he's not the best, he's not the worst either. Um,
Ah,
I've I've seen Johnny Manziel's worse.
well,
You
he's
can't
not in the
debate it.
league though, but I'm talking about active quarterbacks.
Active quarterbacks, he's still not the worst. This backup quarterbacks is worse. But you know, again, like I say, he's not the worst. He's not the best either. He's definitely lacks a lot of maturity, and he can't seem to like figure himself out. So going into the off season, we have a good like our defense is really good, man. Our
Oh,
defense
you guys
is
have like a top 10 defense. I'm just gonna say it
yeah,
outright.
yeah, top defense. Um, Probably like one of the best in recent years. Um, I would look for maybe a safety, strengthen our safety positions up a little bit.
Yeah, it
Um,
really hurt when you got rid of what was it? Jamal Adams. That really did not help at all.
Honestly, it helped a little bit. I mean, from Jamal Adams, we got Sauce Gardner, and
Yeah. Okay, you know
Gardner
what?
is
All right, that's fine. I
Garner
didn't
is
realize
like
that.
a heck of a player, man. He's a beast.
He's the best.
He's a beast. He's a defensive rookie of the year finalist.
He's giving me flashbacks of another really famous cornerback in NFL history, as you know, and he was on your
Darrell
team, Darrell
Revis.
Revis.
Yep.
Revis Island was undefeated. He might not have been the best cornerback of all time, but I will say
He wasn't the
Revis's
best,
prime. I think Revis's
but
prime though was the best prime like ever
he
for a
like
cornerback.
he held down the like one of the prime
Calvin
receivers,
Johnson,
Calvin
Randy
Johnson,
Moss,
Randy
Terrell
Moss.
Owens, like the list goes on.
Like it takes talent to do that. And I mean, if he doesn't get Hall of Fame this year, I'm gonna riot.
He needs to. He's definitely one of the best ever for cornerback. Like I said, his
And the
prime
thing
I think
is
was the
that
best.
one thing I liked about him the most was that he never talked any crap.
Oh no, he
Like
wasn't. He wasn't like that.
he like he kind of reminds me of like a Kawhi Leonard in a way. Like he's very
Yeah.
just quiet and just like he quiet. He lets his play do the talking for him, which I respect a lot. But going back to head coaching, so I would yeah, I would get a safety, maybe another wide. No, not another wide out.
Do you
Get
like
an
Salah?
get another offensive tackle to
Are you a
tackle
fan of your coach?
guard. Coach wise, he's yeah. I think
You
he's a
like your
good
coach?
leader. I'm giving Salah another chance. Um, he like he's honestly turned this team around in the last year.
Yeah.
Something that not a lot of coaches have really done. An example: look at Cliff Kingsbury. Look at Matt Rule.
Yeah.
I mean, his defensive coordinator took over, and he's doing a better job. I mean, he did a better job than he did. Crazy.
So I'm gonna say I think you guys, and this is my perspective, are the best young team out there. I would say every single person at that position, mostly maybe a little bit of offensive line work, maybe. But other than that, like even receivers, even like running back, obviously Brees Hall, like defense, like almost everybody in that team, that all the young guys, they're gonna be going for the future, and they're also really talented. And I feel like you guys are a complete young team. The only thing I think that you didn't mention that, so I'm actually shocked that I'm guessing you're trusting the dude, is why don't you guys go get like Lamar Jackson or like Derek Carr or like a
So
signal caller.
I didn't get to that, man. You didn't let me get there.
I thought when you said Zach Wilson, you're like, okay, I'm
No, no,
trusting Zach Wilson.
I wasn't done explaining myself. So I don't trust. Like I think we do need another veteran quarterback present. Um, like there's going to be quite a few free agent quarterbacks. Um, I'm not. At first, I wasn't too keen on getting Lamar Jackson, but now I might be. I mean, like only because we did a new offensive coordinator.
Now,
Um,
hear me out. There actually might be
we're gonna have to change the whole offense wise doing that.
there might be
Also,
another guy out there that might you might have
If
not
we get
considered.
like a Jimmy G or Derek Carr, I'm also in favor of that too.
Well, there's one guy you didn't think of that I think you guys can get for cheap that you I don't know. I mean, he's an experiment, but I feel like you could get this guy. He's really young. He's inexperienced, but he might actually thrive in that offense with how young they are and how what their scheme is. Wait, did you ever think about Trey Lance? Because if Brock Purdy is the starter for the 49ers, if they decide on that, Trey Lance is not going to want to just sit there and be like, okay, I'm just going to just sit as a backup from now on. And plus, Jimmy G might possibly be back or be the backup or whatever like that. Maybe make a trade for Trey Lance for a low couple picks.
So
You
I'm
could
gonna
get and see him try him out.
I'm gonna answer this from a Jets perspective, but also of as if I'm the 49ers GM, I should be thinking this way as well. I'm getting this from two perspectives. As a Jets, he you look at Trey Lance, he was drafted the same round as Zach Wilson. He barely played his first year. He got hurt the first the first he got hurt like he only played like 2 or 3 games, and even then it didn't look as impressive. Um, in my opinion,
Well,
it's like you're trying Zach Wilson again. Not saying he's like Zach Wilson, but you're taking a big gamble.
it was just a
And
thought because I think you could probably get him for a
From
cheaper
the Niners
price.
perspective, though, from the Niners perspective, you keep Lance. You get rid of you trade Jimmy G for a good draft and maybe some other key players, but you keep Lance because with what you have now, you're not losing. You're not losing. Like you see, I mean, you know, maybe after this year, you see what happens. If Purdy's a guy, then you still have a rookie who can learn under him and develop. Maybe redshirt him this year and see what happens. But also with Purdy, if Purdy gets hurt next year, you have Lance, and he
Yeah.
could do the same exact thing. You
Another one
get
that's up for debate
rid of
is,
Jimmy G.
they are not in good talks right now with Dak Prescott. I know that's a
No,
really interesting
no,
case. You would not
not
want
Dak.
Dak Prescott
No, no, no,
because
no,
Dallas hates him right now.
no. I don't want him either.
I mean, I don't blame you. I feel like Dak is arguably the most.
How do you lead interceptions and you only played 12 games?
He is the most overrated quarterback I feel like in the entire league. I don't think it's even close. I don't think you can name any other quarterback that you're like, man, he's overrated. Like I feel like most quarterbacks in the league, they we kind of know where they fall. But Dak is sometimes labeled, sometimes still in the top 10. And I feel like he's not even close to that anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
he's
so going off of football too is, as I said, I'm a Giants fan, and we've talked about this a lot. But what is your beef with us Giants fans? Because you're a Jets fan, I'm a Giants fan. I've never had problems with the Jets. I've always been a big fan of Jets, but I don't know what it is, but you always have the problem with the Giants. And I bet you, knowing that being sick, you were like happy that the Giants got blown out by the Eagles.
I was thrilled.
Yeah,
I
okay.
was thrilled. So all right, so this goes back. This goes back to a few years, and this just goes back to a few years. 2009, 9-7 Jets made it to the AFC Championship game. We lost. 2010, 11-5 made it to the AFC Championship game, lost. A lot of Giants fans was like during that 2 years, they kind of like forgot. Granted, it's probably because of the state we're in. We're in New York State. It's very like it's somewhat like that. The culture is very crappy, but it was like they kind of forgot about the Giants, and it was like go Jets, go Jets, go Jets, go Jets. And then and then the next year, 2012, 2011, 2012, when we didn't make the Super Bowl, when we didn't make the playoffs even, the Giants did and ended up winning the Super Bowl. And they were like, yeah, the Giants. And which was cool and everything because I rooted for the Giants at that at that time. I rooted for the Giants against the Patriots, and the Giants won, kind of similar to how they beat the Patriots last time. Irony. The NFL
Back to
script
back.
did a good job writing that. Um, but after that, it was kind of like they treat like I got a lot of like backlash from Giants fans, and they treated the Jets fans like how Yankee fans treat Mets. It's like
I know that all too well because most
it's
people
like
are Giants,
they
Yankees,
just
Mets, Jets.
like they just treated us badly, and treated us like the little redhead stepchild that no one really likes. And not to and to quote Michael Jordan, from that day on, it just became personal to me.
Oh yeah. Well,
Um,
one thing that
so
doesn't
like
help.
that's basically where my I guess beef comes from. Is just like
It's like
it's
sibling
like
rivalry
you
because
it's like you treat me bad. I okay, so I hope you lose every single game from now on, you
yeah.
know?
it it is kind of like sibling rivalry in the fact that I feel like we love each other, but at the same time, like we secretly want each other to fail, so then we could be like we're better. So I get that vibe. And I noticed for some reason, if you haven't, every year it seems like the Giants and Jets have very similar records, almost like every year. Or at least we're almost like a game or two apart, almost like every year. Like if we're like nine and
Yeah.
eight, the Jets are 8-9. If the Jets are 10-7, we're 9-6. Like or whatever it may be. Like it's always like usually like a game or two like apart, whatever it may be, and we always are saying who's gonna do better this year, who's not gonna do is good. We actually, I think one year we're kind of close. Have we ever had a year where we've both made the playoffs? I feel like every single year it's always either the Jets or the Giants. It's never both. I don't think
I
we've
think
ever had.
actually I can Google it.
I can't remember the last time we've both made it. And then there's Buffalo that no one, unless you're a Bills fan, like no one just thinks of Buffalo as a New York team, even though they actually are the only technical New York team, even though we are both New York, three of us are New York teams. But that it's just weird how like we just have that rivalry, and then there's the just the Bills. They're just there.
They're just there.
They're just there minding their own business. And then I think Josh Allen's gonna be the new like Dan Marino or Philip Rivers. He's just never gonna win the Super Bowl. He's gonna get getting close, and then they're just not gonna get it for him. I don't know
So
if it would necessarily be his fault, but
so funny story. All right, so to answer your early question, the last time the Jets and Giants made it to the postseason at the same time, 1991.
I told you, yeah, it's been a while.
Neither
We just
of
cannot.
us were even alive or thought. Um, but to answer your questions, funny story about the Bills. Um, so there's a guy I went to return my old bottles to in New York and in other states. You probably know this as well. We get charged for every soda water bottle we buy because they want us to recycle. So it costs 5 cents, which that's neither here nor there. But anyway, I had to go to a bottle return place to get my money. Um, and the guy there, he's a big time Jets fan, really nice guy, but he's a big time Jets fan. And I asked him, what do you think about the Bills? He said, and he's an older gentleman. He's been watching football for years. I think he's seen when the Jets won a Super Bowl, so you can tell
Oh yeah,
he's
he's
old.
been yeah.
And so he said, I've seen different Bills teams in my life, and he said this team is not even going to make it to the big game.
Mm.
He called it I talked to him probably sometime. It was sometime this year after no last year, 2022. I think after the season had ended, and I asked him about it, and he said this team is not good enough to make it to the big game.
Well, they don't have a run game at all. That's the problem. Like they just
And
try to throw it up all the time and expect to get Josh Allen touchdowns and Stephon Diggs touchdown passes all the time. But if you
and the
can't run the
thing is, I
ball,
saw that, and I seen this from the beginning of the season. I saw it from the beginning of the season because
well,
I
the
was looking
injuries
at the
also killed them.
off season moves that they made last year, and I was like, okay, this team is building big enough to beat the Chiefs as revenge for last year.
Yeah.
The problem is they have to get to the Chiefs,
Yeah, it seems like
and they couldn't even get to the Chiefs.
the Bengals for some reason have everyone's number, it feels like in the AFC. I feel like the Bengals are the biggest, I think that are the secret. like knife that are the biggest like threat that no one like really talks about as much, but they
They are, and
actually are pretty scary.
they are, and you look at last week's game, they were that team was freaking. They wanted it
Lights out.
more. They were hungry. They were hungry, and the
Yeah,
Bills. This is how I knew that they wasn't going to make it. Everyone was saying, "Oh, the Super Bowl this, they'll be Super Bowl this." Like I knew it,
I predicted them.
but this is what did it for me. This is what confirmed my prediction was the last 2 or 3 weeks. When they played Week 18 against the Patriots, they should have put them. They should have put them away. There's no reason why the Patriots why that game was a closer game.
Yeah, the Patriots offense
No
is
reason at
garbage.
all. This is like Demar had just got released from the hospital. This
Yeah,
is like you should be playing
your
for
heart
him.
out. Yeah,
Play your heart out. And the Patriots out there and they had a close game against you. Like no, that's not right. And
yeah.
and then they almost lost to the Dolphins against a third string quarterback. I was like, yeah, no,
Yeah, no, that was ugly. We are at 8 minutes and 26 seconds remaining, so we're gonna do these last. I have two topics left. One will take one long, one should take pretty quick. Now we'll go on to the basketball side of things. We were talking about that before. I figured I'd ask you this because I think it's something worth knowing. Is what is your all-time starting five?
ooh, yeah, I only have a few minutes here, man.
We have 8 minutes remaining.
And all time starting five. Okay, point guard probably be Magic Johnson.
Good. I like that pick.
Shooting guard MJ.
I was gonna say if you say Kobe, I'm sorry, Kobe's good, but he's not better than MJ. Of
MJ. Small forward LeBron.
course, yep.
Power forward. Power forward. I'd probably. Oh man, that's a tough one.
I
That's a
have a
tough.
few options, but I want to hear what you think.
Power forward. I'd probably go with Kevin Garnett.
Really? I mean, that's a respectable pick. I was either think
And
first thing that came up to me was
center would be Shaq.
oh, obviously. I feel like power forward is the only position that's worth debating. I feel like center, small forward, shooting guard, and point guard are all basically just easy. But I feel like power forward is the only one that you could really even at all contemplate. Actually, another one you might have not have thought of for center. I mean, I would still pick Shaq either way, but like obviously Kareem. Kareem's another one for center that would
Kareem.
really,
I was
really be
thinking
good.
him. I was thinking I was gonna say then David Robinson, but he was a
Yeah.
center.
But for power forward, the two names that came to mind for me for some reason at first were Tim Duncan
That was
and
one.
Larry Bird because Larry Bird
Larry
was
Bird.
technically a small forward, but he was also a power forward. He was big for a small forward.
I was
Um,
also thinking Dirk Nowitzki.
oh yeah, he was good too for sure. But I think that's actually a very respectable list. There's actually nobody on that entire list that you named. I think that I can debate. I feel like everyone deserves there. Kevin Garnett again. I mean, I could go here and there with him, but I feel like that's a respectable pick. So, uh,
I picked him out of defense because that dude,
yeah.
he was a defender, man. He was beast.
And so how close do you think Curry is to Magic Johnson? Because I actually agree with it. I agree with the pick, but I just want to see how you think how close he is.
Not close.
Yeah, I think that's the clear
Not
cut
close.
answer. All right, so we
Um
have
offen
um
like offensively, they're almost
we have different like strengths. Really, that's what it is.
yeah, yeah, but defensively,
Curry's
no.
undersized does not help his case. Magic
Right.
Johnson's like what was 6'8" and he's a point guard. Like that's ridiculous.
6'8" point guard, and he was big too. Like he wasn't like no small guy. He was big.
Yeah. And then finally, we have 5 minutes remaining. We'll might as well finish it on a quick story time. Can you think of any particular story where we've shared a moment where you're like, I cannot forget this. This was either funny, hilarious, meaningful, whatever it may be. I just figured I'd ask that because we're on the 5 minute clock. So if any quick stories you have,
Again, the only story I can think of was the camp one where you got
I
your wet
actually
where they threw it. She put water on your in your shoe. I was like,
oh, that was
yo,
dirty. That was so dirty.
that was
Um,
even the other guy he was there too. He was like, yo, they went for blood.
so the one I could think of, I know it's a weird thing a story to think of, but we were doing a basketball night, and I'll never forget we were playing. I think we were on opposite teams, but I forget. And I was running down the court. We were both running down the court. The ball was behind us. I was turning around and I didn't see you. And obviously for people that don't know, and this is not like in the negative way, it's the positive way. Eric's a big dude. He's pretty muscular. He's a pretty big guy. And I turned around and I didn't see him right there and was like running into a brick wall. I ran into the guy and he had been, I think he was trying to grab the ball because it was close to us. He was bent over trying to grab the ball, and I didn't see him. So it was almost like a wheelbarrow, like you ever see like when people push somebody, like when somebody's bent over so they fall over top of them. And I ran full sprint at Eric when he was bent over, and Eric realized that I'd accidentally made contact, and he got up, and I launched probably 5 or 6 feet in the air because it was almost like a catapult. And I was just clawing for things to grab because I knew I was going to hit the ground hard. I ended up accidentally grabbing Eric, like clawing him right in the face, and his glasses went flying, and we basically both just splat on the floor. I was like, it was ugly.
I remember that. It's pretty funny.
And I felt so bad because I'm like, I'm sorry, Eric. I didn't mean to like just basically tackle you in a sense. It was like I didn't see you.
My glasses did not break. That's all that
I
counted.
that somehow I was amazed by that. I'm like, how did your glasses not break? Because that was concrete floor that we were playing on. It's not like a floor where it's like, a mat or like a soft hardwood floor. Like it's like basically concrete. So I'm like actually shocked. I'm like, how did they not break? That was just luck. But I felt so bad because I think I might have poked you in the eye or something. Because I was just trying to grab something as I was falling, and I think I just grabbed you like the worst possible spot.
Yeah, it was nothing, man. Don't worry.
But we have those moments like I feel like once every like 2 or 3 weeks. Like generally I feel like we're really lucky at basketball that no one ever gets hurt, but we do have those times for some reason like we'll have like a really bad injury here or there that people have to take some time. I don't think I've ever had really a bad injury. I think I've been really lucky, but there's been times where I felt bad for some people. Like I've seen people getting elbowed in the face and stuff here and there. But again, it's just all fun and games. Like it's an accident, it happens. But that's the time I could remember that was just I don't want to call it hilarious because it was like we both got hurt on accident, but it kind of was because of how it happened. Like just getting I got launched in the air. I fell right on top of you, and your glass went flying. Everything went everywhere, and everyone was just so confused. Like I think the whole game stopped because they were like, "What just happened?" Like it was like a car crash on I-95. Um,
Yeah.
So we have a minute left, so we're gonna call it here. Any last thoughts, Eric, before we call it a wraps on episode 5?
Stay healthy out there, peoples. Stay healthy, stay warm, be safe.
And obviously, from what we were talking about, we obviously keep God number one. I feel like that's number one important thing to talk about as well, because we were talking about how we met in church, and I can't we can't stress that enough is definitely keep God number one in your life. And if you ever need any questions about him, just ask him yourself and turn to the book of the Bible, and that'll help you.
Yeah, that 100%.
So anyway, guys, it has been the Just Joshin podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for Eric for taking his time, and I hope to see you guys next week. Peace, y'all.